The Mandalorian is a great show. It's
not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
Unless Disney Plus is listening and wants to sponsor us.
Please sponsor us. I love you. Natalie's coughing. I'm trying to avoid it.
No, it happens. This is life, people. Happening right before your ears.
Speaking of life, welcome to Worst Enemies. A
Where
podcast where
the worst part of being an enemy is that... I'm sorry. I'm in a really weird headspace right now.
Yeah.
I had a pizza bagel and then I had a cookie. So we're going.
Dang. They had pizza bagels again?
No. Oh, yeah.
You just had a bagel.
No, it was a pizza bagel. It wasn't like a pizza bagel like what you're thinking. What everyone is thinking of right now, it's not that. It's like an actual bagel that's like pizza type.
Yeah. Okay, so like the outside of it is the pizza. Okay.
So
I was confused because yesterday at the cafe they had like actual
actual pizza bagels? What in the crap?
We gotta talk about what we're talking
Okay, we're already a minute in. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Yes, this is Worst Enemies, a podcast where we talk about basically whatever we want to our parents. Hello. And thank you, KBR The Torch, for allowing us the technology to do this.
To rant.
Yeah. Oh,
this
today?
Is what
today?
Is
yeah. Will be a rant. It's a very important topic that not a lot of people think about because people are very quick to either get annoyed by or disregard
children.
There we go. We're talking about kids.
We're talking about kids today. But not in a weird way.
I don't know. Well, because today, this is movies and stuff week. So we're talking about children's entertainment and how what we're seeing is being done wrong and what we're seeing is being done right and what we think what should be out there. Mm-hmm. Because Marley said you want to do this, correct?
This
kind of...
My dream is to like write YA stuff, young adult, or children. Honestly, like I'm just anything that isn't an adult, like an adult, like
scary.
19 under, except for like maybe like baby stuff because I'm not.
You don't want to write Kipper?
You know, I don't think I'm smart enough to do that.
Oh yeah.
I definitely think that those people are really like what they do is. I mean, it's like. Super important, especially nowadays because people like just make their kids
development stuff. Yeah.
Maybe I should have a YouTube channel of like toy reviews. Dude, you can get millions of dollars.
That's so true.
Yeah.
But you need a kid.
Do you?
Don't you need a kid to make it legit?
I mean,
like for people to be like cute. Oh my gosh.
Am I not cute enough?
It doesn't need to be your kid. It just needs to be a kid that you have permission to like have in a video, because if there are minors in a YouTube video, you have to technically get permission.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know.
But no one cares because, well, you shouldn't be, because if you're under 18, people, you need like special consent to happen for them to publicize your image.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
We don't really
Except
have
for
a
your
set.
Parents.
We don't really have a set. I don't have like a list of stuff.
No, I don't either. This is
just gonna be chill.
Yeah. Well,
lo-fi vibe. Well, not actually. It won't be.
It'll be lo-fi in terms of organization,
but hi-fi in terms of upsettedness at points, and also good stuff. We're gonna talk about good stuff.
Let's end with good stuff.
Okay, so we can start with bad stuff.
So we're gonna start low and go up.
I'm ready
because we don't want to fall.
We want to fall.
Adam
and then
already did that for us. Well, Adam and Eve. What?
Getting philosophical over here. Natalie, do you want to go first about?
I don't. Okay.
What's
wrong?
What's wrong with film, TV, children stuff? Go. YouTube.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing. I don't like the fact that people can have a career on YouTube, but that's all I'm gonna say about that. I think you should go first.
You should.
Unless you really want me to go first. I could probably pull something
have things to say.
Okay, I'll just
You'll piggyback.
I'll hop on because I am very interested.
You know, I think I'll preface this by saying last night We just got to talking.
Oh, yeah.
We got to talking, and I was very mad.
You
go ahead.
Okay, we're getting real serious. Stop me when this gets to, like, 7.5, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, so last night we were talking because yesterday something really sad happened if you've heard of it, because we're recording this on the 15th. Yesterday there was another school shooting in Santa Clarita at Saugus High School, which was the first high school that it happened to that I'd like kind of had affiliations with because I'd been there before, and like we have a friend who went there, and we were just talking about how like this was a 15-year-old kid who did this. Well, I guess it was his birthday, but it's like, yeah, it's like the whole gun situation really doesn't help, but also like that it's not like a one-piece puzzle to getting to fix this thing, because like, okay, we take away the guns, there's still people who are in pain, there's still kids that are struggling, that have anger for whatever reasons, that don't know how to cope with it, that aren't being supported, not because possibly because of this, but not necessarily because their parents don't want to help them, but just they don't either know how, or they don't know that it's going on, and just like that. Yeah, that's what we talked about last night. And then we started talking about...
We just started trickling into like what we were going to talk about today, and we started talking about I have no
respect.
Yes, but what's the word? I have no. I guess I don't care.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't care if like people get mad. I don't like 13 Reasons Why. That's what we were talking about.
Cue the clapping sound. If I had Sam's like blue remote for my Carly, I'd hit the clapping button.
And like, that show. I'm going on the record to say that show is complete garbage.
Yep.
The reason, like, we started talking about
Let's talk about 13 Reasons. Just kidding.
That's like, we're trying to keep it so that we talk about more things, but this is kind of like the main thing, like the stem of the reason why I kind of wanted to become someone who writes for like a YA audience. I read the book, by the way. I didn't always hate it. Yeah, I read the book, and
I'm not surprised that you read the book. I don't think I remembered that there was a book.
Yeah, there's a book. Which there's a whole other thing. The book was written by like a middle-aged man.
Oh, right.
My first problem is like, I think that you can write, anyone can write in any perspective. But the problem is, like, you need to write it well.
Yeah.
This guy did not write it well. Also, I think there's, like, some allegations about him in terms of, like, just that kind of stuff. So it kind of shows you what kind of person wrote it. This guy did not grow up first in this generation. He did not grow up as a girl. He did not, like, he doesn't have the same experiences, I feel, that someone who grew up in, like, us could have had. So that was my first thing. The book, I don't really remember the book. I just remember kind of being like, okay, this is like whatever. There's some things that I was like, yeah. And if you heard like the testimony podcast, you know that I've had experiences with like suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. I'm not ashamed to say that. It's just part of my story. So I'm really interested in those types of stories, especially when it's geared towards a YA audience. So I try to like read them. I try to catch up because I want to know what people are into, like what the youngins are into.
Hitting the whoa.
And then I started watching the show, and I was like, okay, this is strange. But then my brother told me, like, he watched all of it before I did. I got to probably like episode 4, and he said, do not watch it. He's like, do not watch it at all. You can't watch the last episode.
Yeah.
And he told me it was because they graphically film the main character girl, who, if you don't know the story, it's about a girl who commits suicide, and she leaves 13 tapes to the people who she feels are responsible for her suicide. which is already so many different issues in and of itself, of so many things wrong with that. And they graphically show her killing herself,
which is illegal.
And now, like, it's been
not killing yourself, but like showing it. There are certain rules and standards that need to be met, and they weren't. I don't know why they weren't. I think it's because it wasn't on cable. Yeah, because it was on Netflix. But yeah.
And it's since been taken down, but that was only after a few years that it had been out. So a lot of people saw it.
I didn't even know it was taken down.
Yeah, it's been taken down since then. There's been some more, like, they just had season 3. I'll get into that in a second. But season 2, one of the main reasons we talked about this because of the school shooting that happened yesterday is because there's a I read about the show, so I don't watch it. So I might not have as much context as someone who has watched the show, but I do know that this is a plot point where there's a character who was raped. I guess I'd just say it like flat out. He was raped, and he just has like a lot of psychological problems and everything like that. And then he like goes to the school to shoot up the school, essentially, like at a dance. And that's like the end of the show. And it's just kind of like, what the heck? What is happening? And I've since read... What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, there are so many better ways to, like, publicly transition into a conversation regarding these issues. Because, like, yeah, these kinds of psychological issues do cause things like that to happen. But putting it as a plot point to a fictional form of entertainment is not healthy in any way, especially for kids who are actually going through that and they're like, oh, because at this point, this is all they have to look to.
Yep.
If they're not being like otherwise engulfed by like therapy or something like that.
I was reading about the show a little bit today just to like prep because I wanted to like make sure that what I was saying was like grounded in truth. And I read a lot of articles that basically said they all said the same thing where it's like 13 Reasons Why needs to stop like not only glorifying certain things that they're doing like, you know, suicide and revenge and all that type of stuff. It also needs to understand that they can't just use like dramatic things as drama in their show. It has to have a reason. You can't just make characters go through horrible situations because it's drama.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Yeah. It's not right. And especially because these are like, my thing is like, I don't really care what people tell me all the time. And I've had like those edgy friends who are like, when we were like 16 or whatever, they'd watch like these crazy things and be like, it doesn't affect me. Like, I can watch that. My thing is like, it affects you no matter how much, like, I'm the type of person where like, I used to be super sensitive about everything. This is a true story. When I first saw Avengers, I brought my Bible with me. That's how sensitive I was. And I've since grown out of that, and I've kind of been able to watch, like, I watch mature content now, and so I understand the point where a lot of people can deal with things more than other people can, but when it comes to, like, young adult content, there just needs to be a bar that needs to be set. There needs to be some sort of morality in a sense of figuring out, like, regardless of what teenagers think they can handle, what can they actually handle?
Yeah, and like how is it 5 years, 10 years from then, how is that going to then affect them? Because like, yeah, these are the years.
It's a dumb show. It
is dumb.
And I'm not the type of person who's like, teenagers need to only watch Disney Channel, like, oh, they only need to watch Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for kids, teenagers watching stuff that, like, really challenges them. But 13 Reasons Why doesn't challenge you. It just gives you garbage.
Yeah.
What do you do with that garbage? You can't make something out of it.
Yeah.
Give them stuff that's, like, Give them gourmet food that they can eat, and they can develop like opinions that are not just grounded in dramatics.
Yeah. And another your face.
No,
that's good. That's really true. Like,
I want to punch a wall right now.
You're not gonna feed your kids like literal, just like, here, eat these marshmallows every day, whatever. Like, no, that's not healthy. And one thing that I like, what caused me to like really, I mean, I still don't like them, but growing up being really turned off by like horror movies was my mom would always be like, once you see something, like, you can unsee it. So, and whether or not people are like trying to see it, but it's like, I think I always saw that from a viewing point of view, but now, like, talking about this and then also like getting into writing, I'm thinking of it more as like from a creating point of view. Like, once you put something out there for people to see, not like in terms of like judging like your creativity, but like when you're putting something on the screen, just know that like that's there. When someone sees it, they can unsee it. So make it like
matter.
Know what it's for, know what it's gonna do, have that purpose in mind, and have it like really think about like what you're doing. Like the people of this show, they're like, are they not? I know, like, I don't even like, just people know the severity of like suicide. You don't need to show someone doing it. People are aware that it's
a
horrific thing, and it's a problem, and it's just really bad. You don't need to show it to like you're not gonna ever know how bad this is until you see it with your own eyes.
It's like
no,
it's like,
it's not one of those things.
It's and especially if it's like, oh, we're giving this to people who are going through a similar thing that Hannah's going through. Hannah's the main character's name. I don't see the value in that, because it's like, the thing is, if I had seen that scene, it would have traumatized me. 100%. Coming from someone who's had thoughts like that before in terms of what she did, that kind of stuff, and this is like my own opinion, and I've gone through that type of stuff. You can't watch that.
No.
That's going to affect you in such a negative way.
Yeah.
My thing is like, I mean, I'm kind of like, yes, I do think that in film, you really do need to break boundaries, and there are like, I applaud people who are like brave enough to put stuff out there that's like, you know, that gets people talking. The thing is, like, implying what she did would have been just as effective. And the thing is, they've taken it out. That should have been it from the start.
Yeah.
It's just you have to know who your audience is. And if your audience is people who are struggling in that type of way, you can't show things like that.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's just, it's not going to do
That's
any good.
kind of like, I mean, I haven't seen it, so but I know, like, if you're seeing it, it's going to be terrifying. And so I don't know if they're going for like a scared straight kind of thing. Like, they're going to, that is not like, that's not
the way
that's
to do
not
it.
Healing. Like, scaring someone into not committing suicide is not fixing their not like fixing, but like not allowing them to heal from whatever's happening.
Yeah.
That's
just causing a new wound.
like, and like causing them to like repress and be like, oh, I can't feel this way, and I'm not going to talk about it to anyone, and thus it's just going to get worse.
It's going to get worse. I'll leave with this thought that I also read in the article, because we got to move on. I read a lot that people were saying, like, 13 Reasons Why shows you a lot of stuff that you shouldn't do in terms of, like, how to deal with a friend who's going through that type of thing, how to deal with someone who might have been abused in different types of ways. It never showed people how the right way is to deal with it. And another thing is, like, apparently, and this could be wrong, but this is what I've read, they never say the word, like, depression or, like, mental health. They never say that in the show. And it's
what do
all
they say?
I don't know. It's all just like a one-sided thing. It's so many psychologists have said that this is not a great show. The best way to do this is to talk about it with your kids.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like, talk. Yeah. That's what my parents did.
Yeah.
My parents are awesome. They're like my saviors, and they've been so good at how to do this. And I just don't think that people should be giving their children's childhoods and upbringings to television and film. I think that's a weak way of doing it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll leave it on.
And it's well, I'm gonna tack something onto that.
Do it.
But like,
fight
in terms of this isn't generally like, this is more general. So it's kind of like getting to where we want to go. Yeah. So it's like, you can't just let your kids just rely on TV. Not that, I mean, I don't doubt that like some people parents do that, or people do that where they're like, oh, this like sounds like a good thing, and I've heard good things from like other people who don't actually know like what it is, and so I'm gonna like let my kids watch it, and then like that'll be it. Like, but also you can't do that because everyone's situation is different, and you can't just do like a show and give it out to people and like expect that it will meet everyone's needs, because it won't. It will if it's good. I'm not talking about 13 Reasons Why. Just making that very evident. If it's a good show and it does really well and it does what it should be doing, even that, like, it'll help. It'll be assuring and it'll like be comforting, but it won't do like it won't go deeper.
Every child
it might allow for
in a
that
different
to happen,
way.
but yeah.
It's just, you gotta be so careful. It really scares me to think about, like, because I want kids to think about what they're gonna have to, like, I don't know, like, I don't want my kids to have an iPhone, you know? I don't want them to do that. I want them to go outside and play games. Let's go. What else should we talk about?
I don't know. I was gonna say this is like the reason not that I don't want right now, but why I'm like, the reason I don't want is because I'm scared. I like don't want kids, at least at this point, looking into the future, because I'm like, I don't like, it's just like such a mess, and I know that's not like a good reason, but at this point I'm like, unless I like learn a lot of crazy stuff, like good crazy stuff, I'm like, I'm gonna be freaking out the whole time.
Well, I think that's just what parenting is.
Oh, I don't want that.
Yeah, it's
right now I don't want that. Thank you.
I can care for myself.
I don't want
that's
that.
why I'm taking care of myself. I'm really good. I'm really good right now. Hello. I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
Anyway. What are, but like kids shows? Do we want to talk about like kitties?
Yes. Most of what I'm gonna say is probably gonna make you mad. Like all the stuff I got about. Well, I guess zombies isn't really a TV show. I'm so sorry, Molly.
It's fine. I think it's not as like destructive, but I just think it's purely like entertainment. It's not getting, which I think there are movies and there are shows like that, as long as you're just not just solely getting that. I'm talking like from a kid's point of view. If that's not all you're getting, like, it's fine. As a kid, you want to like enjoy things, and you're like, that's funny, this song, like these colors, but also like getting more like substance is also important.
Do you have a particular show? Because honestly, like, I don't really.
I mean, I don't touch dirty shit. I'm just kidding. I don't have one in mind. I know, like, I don't know if this was just me growing up and out of it, or if it really did get worse, and I think it did get worse. Like Disney Channel, the shows just kind of, and Nickelodeon for sure, with like
100%.
iCarly and Victorious, which I like those shows still, but like also like I can see where it's like this is kind of like demeaning to a kid. If that were all it was. It's just like random, bleh, funny, random.
There's a toe
like,
on the screen.
Yeah, like random, like really became. And I noticed that when I was like in middle school, and I was like, it's just random, and it's not. It's just silly, and I don't know if that's just like the writers are trying to like fill time, and they're like, I don't really know what to do. Oh, we'll just put something silly on the screen and they'll be fine. And it's like, well, and like, again, like that's okay, but it's like, I mean, it's all the thing, like too much of one thing is bad.
Yeah,
but
it's unfortunate. It's like, I just got Disney Plus. I had to say that. So did Natalie.
It ruined. Dude, well, I got it for free.
Whatever.
Shout out to Verizon. You can sponsor us too.
And just looking through like all the TV shows that are like on there, I saw like, oh, That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire, oh my gosh, like all these shows. And then it just like made me sad because I thought, what does Disney Channel have now? I think their animation shows are really good. Like, I'll fight you any day about how Gravity Falls is an amazing show, and it's like really cool for it's funny, and it's like you can learn so much from it. And DuckTales, the new DuckTales, is freaking amazing, and I love it. But I think that in terms of like their live action stuff, it's not doing so hot. Yeah. But then again, I haven't really watched their live action stuff. Yeah. I just kind of see like, I sometimes see clips of it, and I'm just like, this isn't like a That's So Raven, you know?
And, well, yeah, for sure. It's just like, it's a weird feeling. And I think part of it is for sure that we're like not starting like in it as kids. That's that we're true. Seeing it only from like an older perspective. Older, like very early 20s. But like I remember, within the past 2 years, I like watched Hannah Montana, like a few episodes, and I was like, this is like kind of like cringy, but not to the point of it being like terrible, not like terrible, but like not like trash. It's just like that's a kid's level, like it's not super complex. There's a laugh track because there just is. If there wasn't a laugh track, it would be weird. Have you ever seen those videos of like iCarly without a laugh track? Yeah. It's so weird.
It's like in a different universe.
It's so bizarre. But like even, like I know like That's So Raven, and like, I mean, I feel like That's So Raven is like better than Hannah Montana. But like, watching it now, it's not going to be like as good as I remembered, but it's still not going to be like, I wouldn't not recommend this for a kid.
Yeah.
AKA I would.
Yeah. It's definitely, sometimes I definitely do like look back and I'm like, okay, Marlisa, you can't, like, kids can't just be watching like, oh, this is like philosophical, blah, blah, blah. They, like, because I wouldn't have watched that as a kid. But at the same time, it's just, it's like, I don't know why I feel this way, but I definitely do feel like for some reason, like, except for maybe Disney, but even then sometimes I feel like they do the same thing. It's like they just stopped wanting. It's like they kind of stopped caring as much, in a sense.
It was very just like, man,
instead of it just being like entertainment and, I don't want to say learning. Substance is a better word, because like learning sounds boring. Because it I didn't feel like I was like, I'm learning something by watching this episode. It's like it was entertainment, but it was also like beneficial in a way. And now it just feels like it's only entertainment. And it's just unfortunate. And I'm like genuinely curious about, like, I try to talk to younger kids and be like, do you like this stuff? Like, do you genuinely, does it like appeal to you? Because maybe there's just like a very tiny generational gap in the smallest sense, because
Yeah.
What are we? We're not Gen Z. We're not millennials. We're
technically
millennial
Gen Z.
That's
we're
true.
We're technically Gen Z.
We're like the oldest of the Gen Zs.
3. Well, we're in the top 5 years. Yeah. Gen Z started 96 or 95.
That means
one of them.
You're Gen Z, Alex. That was my brother. Anyway,
was he 96?
Mm-hmm. So
welcome to the club, man.
Should we talk about shows that we like?
Yes. There's just, I mean, I don't know if I should save this one or not.
What are you going to say?
Boy Meets World.
Oh my gosh! Boy Meets World. Talk about it.
Boy Meets World. I don't remember how, like, young I was when I watched it. I mean, I definitely, like, didn't get all of it. Obviously, like, kids are going to get this when they're younger, but it's going to allow them to, like, want to go back when they're older, and they're like, oh, like, this show was so good when I was younger. I'm going to watch it again. And then when they go back for whatever serving they're going back for, they're going to get the substance this time. So, I mean, you can hook them with, like, the entertainment, but then, like, have it be entertaining so that they go back and get something else from it. So, like, Boy Meets World, it's really not, like, there are some really, like, heavy episodes a little later in the series, for sure, like, in the college for sure. Yeah. But then that's, like, well, the audience isn't really, it was kind of cool, like, they shot it kind of, and they were growing the audience was growing with they weren't constantly like, okay, we're focusing on this demographic. They're like, okay, our demographic is growing up, let's do it with them. So it starts with him, he's like in like he's in like 6th grade, or he's like in middle school, and then they're in college by the end of it. And it's just, the writing is really good, which, I mean, isn't like a super mandatory thing for a kids show, because like kids aren't going to be like, oh, like,
he said that strangely.
Oh, that was not grammatically correct.
That's a beautiful show. But keep going, man. Keep talking about it.
It's just so, and it talks about like little things that like he's trying to like, he like doesn't want to get kissed by a girl because that's embarrassing as a kid, and like that's kind of like a silly storyline, but there's like other stuff there. He actually, like, his parents aren't bumbling parents.
Yes.
He has a friend who, like, he's like the bad boy friend, but then you actually get like substance from him. Like, his family's like kind of a mess, and he like they take him into their house, and it's not just like, oh, he's just this bad boy to be like the bad boy character. He's like this bad boy, and you see why. And you see other people trying to help him.
Yeah.
And it's not like a one and done thing. Like, there are times when he like goes back, and it's really just like life. And yeah.
I think the best like children's shows are the shows that you can watch with an entire family. There's a reason it's called family entertainment. It shouldn't just, like, it primarily, I believe it should be for kids.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be to the point where a parent doesn't want to be in the room anymore to watch it with them. I think that it needs to have like oh, funny like kids humor, and then oh, funny like adult humor. Not like inappropriate,
but like clever, like wit.
And Boy Meets World is like,
we love wit.
An amazing show.
Yeah.
So great. It's so cool how you grew with.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That's the kind of show that needs to do that. You really don't see that a lot.
And it's very interesting how it works, because there are some really, I'm trying to think of like the really serious episodes, but like there are some, well, there was one where like the main character Corey, he got sent back, or he was in a dream or something, and he was growing up when his parents were growing up, and they had like, instead of like fire drills, they were doing bomb drills because they thought they were going to get bombed by the Russians. And I mean, there's more like intense ones, but that's just like, that's also like history. But but all that you were saying, like parents shouldn't be like this, like, ugh, scoff. Or, like, they can, like, be like, oh, like, at a joke, because they're like, oh, this is, like, kind of a silly joke. But not like, I don't want you watching this. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I'll say my show. I was thinking, I want to talk about Avatar: Last Airbender.
Yeah.
In a different time.
Yeah.
I think anyone who knows me knows that I love that show, and I think that that's one of the best things, one of the best shows that kind of gives you like that fun humor, and also like presents a really, well, I guess I'll talk about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk about the other show I was thinking about. It's just people are always like being like, Marlisa, you watch it so much, why are you listen, Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the first shows that I watched as a kid where I remember thinking like, this is gonna help me, like this show is going to, what I'm learning from this is gonna help me later on in life, and like I'm excited to see that happen. It's like the first season is really funny, and as you get deeper and deeper into the show, it just gets so deep on a level that I don't think too many other like animated kids shows ever has. I hope that someday like more shows will be like that, but I think it's one of those just like gems that there's just so much that it talks about. Every character in that show arcs. None of them have no reason for being the way they are. It's always, there's a reason why this Fire Lord, this horrible like Hitler this guy, this is why he's like that. This is why his daughter's like that. This is why his son is like that. It is like the most beautiful redemption story I've probably ever seen, besides the Bible, maybe like Paul or something. I love
Paul.
I told Natalie a few weeks or months ago I had to take a writing comp, which is just like a thing that like every film student here, just to make sure everybody knows how to write a paper,
how to pee.
And one of the questions, I don't even remember what the question was, but I started writing about Avatar: Last Airbender, and I almost started crying while I was writing a like 4-page paper in a classroom at like 10 in the morning, because I was talking about, and this is kind of a spoiler, so I mean I won't spoil it too much, but it's just like the redemption arc of one of the villain characters, and he goes to, if you haven't watched it, then like whatever. I haven't talked. I'm gonna save it. You guys go watch it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But
which character are you talking about?
Zuko. And he just has like this arc with his uncle at the end of the show, and I remember watching that.
Ripped.
Yes, Uncle Iroh was my favorite character for so many reasons, and I remember when I remember like I was there when the series finale was. Like, me and my brothers got up that day and we were like, it's happening. We watched it and I was sobbing because it's so beautiful. It's like it's a really like such a Christian theme, and I don't think any of the people who worked, I mean I'm sure there was one, but whatever, like none of the main creators were Christians, but it's such a beautiful story, and it's a Nickelodeon like kids show, and it changed my life. Like that's one of the shows that changed my life for the better, because it showed me like, listen, it does not matter like what you've done, like God will forgive you of that, and he will forgive you in such a way as it shows in that show. Wonderful show. It's one of those shows I can't wait to show my kids, you know? Like, I can't wait to be like, we're going to watch the show now. And they're probably going to hate it because whatever. And the other show I want to talk about really quick is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that until you just were talking about Boy Meets World, and I was thinking like, oh, Phoenix. Man, Mr. Mr. Like, I've seen the documentary for the Mr. Rogers, the Mr. Rogers documentary like 4 times now, and the Tom Hanks film is coming out soon.
In a week.
I'm so excited. Tom Hanks, you're my favorite person in the world.
You can sponsor us too. Playtone. I know it.
Please come.
You can produce us. And you produce Mamma Mia too, so you can super produce us.
You've produced everything amazing. I love you, Tom Hanks. Anyway.
Did he produce Cloud Atlas?
I don't know, but you were the best part of Cloud Atlas.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know if that means anything.
Mr. Rogers.
What a guy.
I grew up watching it. Mm-hmm. I think most people have. Most adults anyway. And watching the documentary just proved to me, because I've always had this type of really passionate thinking just about children's entertainment. And people are always like, okay, like, we get it, whatever. But watching that documentary just showed me, like, this is why it matters so much. Mm-hmm. Like, Mr. Rogers, when you think about him, you think of, like, whatever, like a frail, maybe, like, older guy who has sweaters and talks, and there's a trolley. But he had guts on his show. He talked about stuff that mattered. He transcended the genre of children's television at his time. He saw the need where, like, children's TV at that time was just like entertainment, like we're talking about, and it had no substance. And he saw that, and he was like, this is what's going to happen now. I'm going to change this. He talked about assassination. He talked about racial issues in a way that children understood it. And what's most important is he made those kids, like, feel heard. Yeah. They saw him, and you knew him. Yeah.
It wasn't like, this guy's talking down to me. This is like, he knows what is happening, and he's trying to communicate with me.
He's an amazing, like, that's the type of people who need to be in children's entertainment. Yeah. And especially, in my opinion, in YA entertainment. Because there's, I just don't see that.
Yeah, for sure.
There has to be someone who wants to give people more, wants to give their audience more. And it shouldn't just be adults. Because you hear so much about, like, oh, this, like, adult stuff, like, ooh, the Emmys and blah, 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 blah. In my opinion, it's like, we're adults. Shut up.
Wait, I mean, in what way?
Just, let's keep going with our great adult content. We got some great stuff going out there, like Black Mirror, Chernobyl, whatever. HBO shows are really good. Succession. But let's get that type of, like, raising the bar with children's entertainment. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you're not, like, poo-pooing on the Emmys for existing.
No.
Okay. Because I was like, well, like, that's important to know, like, what like, adult shows are doing, right? Like,
but it shouldn't just
being,
be,
like, bold and talking to, but yeah, like, being solely focused. Yeah, because, well, like, let's say, if the kids who will eventually become the writers and directors and editors and composers and cinematographers and who else is there? I don't want to leave anyone out.
The rest of you.
The rest of y'all, because you can't say you guys anymore. Y'all. Like, they're going to be coming from a place of, like, okay, well, like, what? Of, like, being impacted by the shows that we're giving them now. So, if you're going to, I don't know. So, just cause and effect. Mm-hmm. That is physics.
I think that we forget so much that how we raise a generation is the generation we're going to get.
Yay.
And that's something that you really need to, like, put into account. And if you're blaming, okay, boomer. No, I'm kidding.
Dang it. I wanted you to finish your sentence and I was going to say that.
If you're complaining about the problems, definitely it is the generation's fault because they're making those mistakes. At the same time, though, you made mistakes, raised us better too. Yeah, I'm not blaming, like, I don't know. I'm just saying that
forgiveness is you don't have to be, even atheists teach their kids to forgive other kids, I'm assuming.
Don't forgive
like anyone. Forgiveness, like, man, like,
just make good
whatever
stuff for kids.
Not to like like call out boomers, but just because like that's like a known thing is like the like clash of like boomers and then millennials and Gen Z. It's like, okay, well, like you guys made mistakes too, and I know it's like gonna be a thing, and like we're probably gonna do it when we're older. Like just like look at this, the next generation, and be like, they don't know what's up. But just like having grace and being like a decent human being. You can like be frustrated, but don't be like degrading and think like you're better than, or like as a whole. I mean, and not just like generationally, like anyone. This is going for literally everyone. Just know that stuff. People are different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Just
make it just seriously, like take children's entertainment seriously.
Yeah.
That's my thing. It doesn't all have to be stupid and silly, because that's not ultimately what's going to help them in the end.
But yeah. But also, if you know anyone toy in kids entertainment,
please give us a job.
Please get us a job. Please get us some jobs. I'm currently looking for internships, and cover letters are kind of annoying. I meant to ask you about that,
dude.
I actually read that you're not supposed to use an algorithm. You're supposed to like, and I was like, that's ridiculous. Anyway, no. Second, send this to them, please. I dare you. You won't full send.
Unless they worked on 13 Reasons Why.
No,
you don't send it to them.
Send it to them. Send it to Selena Gomez. If you have a Twitter, tweet this to Selena Gomez and say, you know what, your new music's great and I'm happy for you. Look at you now.
But there's this one thing.
But I just have to tell you one thing. But also the kids show you were on was great. Was this the Waverly Place? Was pretty. It was pretty solid.
That was a great show.
No, it was witchcraft. I'm just kidding.
No,
that was never a problem for me.
Yeah. Me neither.
And it was silly. There was like super silly times, but then there's like times you're like, whoa.
Yeah. It's a balance.
I want a show where the characters cry.
Yeah.
For emotional
for a reason.
Yeah.
For a good
not
reason.
Like there were tears for sure in Wizards of Waverly Place, because like emotional things are happening and they were talking about real stuff. Okay, we're kind of
I'm surprised we didn't go over an hour.
No.
I was like,
yeah, I was like, this is gonna be a longer one.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to us rant about things that some people think don't matter, but we know matters.
We know they matter, and kids know what's up.
Yeah, kids are smart.
Are smarter than we think.
Sometimes I remember one time I said, like, kids are smarter than adults. And honestly, like,
they're less, like, tainted. So they're less, like, bitter. I don't know. Like, you know, they're just able to, like, forgive the things that matter and, like, be like, that's okay. Not because, because they're, like, more naive, but also it's good because it doesn't matter. You know, in the long run.
Love you guys, kids.
Love you.
But we're done.
Watch
Mandalorian,
okay.
Please. I need someone to talk about it with.
This is a frame, a frame narrative.
Please watch The Mandalorian. Please, I need someone to talk to about it. Bye.